Okay, I'm about to show you a story of a near-death experience by Betty Eadie, embraced by the light. And what I see has totally deflated any belief in the afterlife. In other words, if Betty Eadie and Howard Storm believed Betty Eadie's experiences was of God. If Betty Eadie's story is true, as you're going to hear about this, the near-death experiences are not life after death. They're dying experiences. They're a little bonus before you go out and die and lights out, over, game over. They're designed to take inventory of your life and choose what matters most, which is love. And that way, when you think we're going to live forever and ever in love and bliss, you never see it coming. When the light switches out, and you're just gone. Like when I was having my operation on my foot, they never told me when I had an IV in my arm. They never told me when they gave me the injection. I was just talking, la la la. All of a sudden, darkness, lights out. The most terrifying to me. The most terrifying thing to me is that death is the end. That's the most terrifying thing ever to me. That's terrifying. That's utterly terrifying. But, hon, that girl in the school with those long arms, let me get it out of the way and let you... In other words, either Jesus or the gospel in the Bible is true. And I'm having my doubts. Because they've proven the Exodus never happened. This video right here. You need to listen to this video. It's got me in an uproar. But there's one thing that's keeping me from denying Jesus. Just throwing out the bathwater. Because I just got to keep believing. I just got to keep believing. Now is that a spiritual? Because God's spirit? Or is it because... maybe like those old-time preachers who preached and tried to get people to become Christians. They refused to become Christians. They died in mysterious, supernatural, spiritual ways. I could tell you, I could read you a dime a dozen stories of people who died because they rejected Jesus and God killed them. And because of that, no amount of atheism can make me give up my faith. Now, too, with these doubts, I put it this way: if Jesus Christ is not the Son of God, then Christianity is the greatest hoax ever perpetrated upon mankind, and the greatest hoax that could ever be perpetrated upon mankind. I'm disgusted with the near-death experiences by true born-again believers that I'm seeing, and the woeful contradictions and lack of consistencies. But this experience right here with Betty Eadie, this takes the cake. This is utter blasphemy right here. Just listen. Keep listening. Then we get past the bullshit.
My fear of being, it would be very interesting.
Let me get out of the way. Wow, she looks almost demonic. Come on, get this fucking picture out of the way. Get this damn picture out of the way. Fucking bitch.
I'm sure didn't have to be anybody. Well, thank you for inviting me, Melissa. It's my privilege to be here with you, and I'd love to hear your story of your transformation after reading Embraced by the Light. It would be very interesting, I'm sure.
Would you like to start by giving us an overview of your very detailed and in-depth near-death experience, whatever you would like to share of that experience?
Now, I first became aware of this experience in 1995 on the Oprah Winfrey Show, Embraced by the Light. And I believed it. Back then, I believed it was really Jesus. But after seeing this story right here, and Howard Storm believes Betty Eadie met the true Jesus. Now, Howard Storm, does that mean Howard Storm met the counterfeit Jesus Christ? Because if he met true Jesus Christ, what in the hell is he doing believing in this counterfeit Jesus Christ of Betty Eadie's embraced by the light? Unless all these near-death experiences are illusions, not true, which is what I'm thinking more. Which is what I'm thinking. Near-death experiences are just an illusion. Just an illusion. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Merrily, 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 death is but a dream. That's what happens when you die. You dream, and then you truly die, and lights out, game over. Blow. Oblivion. Unless, of course, Jesus is real, really real. Unless Jesus is real and comes to the rescue. Because my faith in near-death experiences has been utterly shattered. Irrevocably broken.
Experience.
Yeah, well, I think that it's kind of curious, and I always start off at the beginning because many people ask, "What's it like to die?" What is it like? What did you feel? Did you have an inkling that this was going to happen? And I have to say, yes, I had some, or maybe it was just my fear of being in a hospital because I'd only been in hospitals basically as an adult to have children. And and that was an easy task for me, thank goodness. I actually had 7 children of my own from my own body and later adopted another child. But so going into the hospital to have a hysterectomy was something brand new to my emotions, as I couldn't even imagine being cut open or anything like that being happening to me. So maybe some of my apprehension was due to that new experience, but it was more than that. I was raised in boarding schools, Catholic boarding schools, and Protestants boarding schools where
okay, get the freaking point.
Nothing but fear. And having been told I'm half Native and half Native American and half Irish, and so having been told that I was a heathen because I was Native American and a sinner because I was the other half was Irish, and I was only 4, and I thought, wow, I'm already going to go to hell because of my skin coloring, because of my nationality. And of course, at 4, you don't think nationality, you just think the worst is going to happen to you, that you're not any good at all, actually. So that starts off that train of thought that led me into my teens. It made me a little bit rebellious. I had low self-esteem, low self-worth. I was challenged to be sociable and became kind of into myself. Silent, wouldn't talk, nothing. I mean, you couldn't get me to talk for anything. I mean, I just didn't feel that I had anything of value or worth, or much less had the English that I needed in order to, use the proper words and etc. So at an early age, I married, and I was only 15, and my life expanded from there into where I am now, going in to have the hysterectomy. I was 31 years old. I feared God. I didn't care about God. I didn't really think God existed in the form that I was taught in these various religions. Not just Catholic, but also other Protestant beliefs. In fact, I was so afraid that I would go to hell because they said if you don't belong in this church, you're going to go to hell. If you don't belong in that church, you're going to go to hell. So as I matured and became an adult, I joined.
Okay, here's one thing that really bothers me about God. The Bible says, who wants all men to be saved and come to the knowledge. Yes.
A little later, I'm gonna show you how to use these to wash your body.
Okay, yeah, I got you.
Okay, but not right now.
Yes.
On the phone.
Okay, you making my coffee?
Yeah, but always
Thank you.
tell me if you're not dressed or something. I don't
Okay.
forget.
Okay. You hear stories about seeking, looking, trying to find the God, and they find Jesus, and it's beautiful. But it's a beautiful experience. Why doesn't God do it for everybody? Why? Why didn't God do it for her? Why didn't God lead her to the real Jesus? Why does God choose to let some people really want to find God and not find God and die and go to hell? But others, you hear the glowing testimonies of, oh, I was a drunk, I was this and that, I hated God, but God showed me grace. Why doesn't God show grace to everybody? Is he masking the inability to save everybody in the world? Or does he just not love enough to save everybody in the world? Oh, I got so many questions and doubts and anger. I'll let you keep listening to the rest of the story.
I joined every church to cover my bases. I know that's crazy, but I thought, I can't do anything about being Native. I can't do anything about being part Irish. I can do something about aligning myself with the true church of God, whichever one that is. And so I did. I joined them all. But it wasn't anything that I internalized. I did that just so that maybe if there was a God in heaven judging me, that I would have already belonged to whatever church is the perfect one, and he would allow me in, or something like that. In the hospital, during surgery, I hemorrhaged and bled, the doctor said. They were able to clamp that up and sent me into my room eventually after recovery. The staff, they were low on staff. I remember hearing the nurses talking about how short a staff they were, and they were shifting. It was a shift. I remember that. I was looking. The reason I thought back about all of that is because why was I left alone in that room by myself shortly after surgery for hours without anyone checking on me? But not understanding hospitals, it didn't seem
Get on with the damn story.
At the time. It only felt objective. I woke up and I felt my body dying. It's sort of like fainting. If anyone has fainted, you start feeling like you're collapsing on the inside. And I felt that. And I describe it in my book as though every last drop of blood was being drained from me. And in fact, that was the case because I hemorrhaged again. And I died. But at the moment, I could feel my from my feet up, I could just feel myself dying. I mean, I thought, oh my God, I'm dying. But there's nothing I could do. I tried to ring for the nurse. I tried to call out to someone. I couldn't do it. I had no strength. The next thing I knew, my spirit came up out of my body, and I turned and looked down, and I could see my physical self lying there on the bed. I thought, I'm dead. But there's nobody in the room. There's nobody to tell. What about my husband? What about my children? I wanted to be with them, so I quickly moved out of the bed, and instead of going to a door, which a human body would do, I went through the window. And I even thought as I was going through the window, well, how natural is this to me? it was natural for me just to depart and go in the direction I wanted to go without having to drag the body along. And within seconds, it seemed, I was at my door of my home. And I didn't need to go through the door. I just went through the window because I just left from home, went to the hospital, and I felt content with that. And I tell that because the longer you are out of your body and back into spirit, where you have lived for eons, it's like coming out of amnesia. It's like you're awakening now to what you have always been and always will
This
be.
experience sounds demonic. Listen,
And
but listen to this part right here that
but
really
I
bothers
quickly
me.
went back to the hospital, and now this is where the great adventure occurred. Standing by my bed were three ancient-looking monks in brown robes with golden belts, and they were just magnificent in appearance.
Why in the hell does things in the spiritual realm be just plain, simple, yet astounding? Why does everything have to be so woo and mysterious?
They looked ancient, and maybe that look was so that I would know that they were ancient. But because I know that after going beyond them, the people in the heavenly realm are not ancient looking. They are young and they're beautiful. But these three, they gave me comfort by their appearance of being ancient, elderly, wise, and I knew them from a distant past. And I don't know how I knew them because that was taken from my memory. But we did chat about that a little bit. They said, you have always known us, and we have always been with you. And I started awakening to how that could have been. But I knew them. And I knew they said that they would always be with me. So I heard this sound. It was like the chime sounds, music, soft, and it drew me into it. And it was a powerful force. Just sucked me into it. And I went freely because, I don't know, it was something that, again, I was so familiar with that it was comforting. And I never thought, once I got into this tunnel of energy and love, I never thought about my family. Not at all. And yet I'm a very loving, caring mother. They are, and my husband, they were not there. And I was drawn into this beautiful place. I felt as though my body was going through a transformation. Not my physical body, but my spirit body, my soul. And the best way I can describe it would be like as if I was bathed in love. And it would flow in and out of me until I was loved and felt love. It was a warmth and an experience that had I
This is a scientific explanation of what's happening when you die. I'm talking about somebody who dies and doesn't come back. You know he's dying. And, okay, so your mind, the computer is like a hard, you got the computer with the, what you call it, the software, the hard drive, the software, the hardware, the actual chip, no shit, the actual, the discs and the actual assembly language. The assembly language, okay, when you're dying, your assembly language knows that you're fixing to go into oblivion. But the soft drive and the hard wire the soft drive and the hard drive is terrified of that. So the assembly language creates a beautiful illusion scenario, a simulation of eternity. You lose a sense of time. You think everything, eternity is right now. And because you think that, you think you'll never, ever die. And you are and she said, notice she forgot all about her family. And it didn't, near the experience, it's so much more like a, when you have a dream, when you wake up to reality is so much more real than the dream, but you soon forget what you dreamed about. And the near the experience, your new spiritual reality is so real that you begin to forget your life on earth. Well, here's what's really happening. Here's what's really happening. Your brain is dying, and you're losing your memories through death. But instead of being terrified, knowing that you are dying, what's happening is the deepest conscious level. What you call spiritual. I call it electricity. Or the electromagnetic spectrum. It's filling you with feelings of bliss, joy, love, to make up for the memories that you are beginning to forget of your time when you were alive. And so it creates the illusion that this reality, your new reality, your near-death experience reality is so real that it is making you forget when you were alive on the earth. In the same way as when you wake up from a dream, you begin to forget the dream. But when the lights finally go out, you're so bathed in love and the feeling of timelessness and the knowing, quote unquote, that you're going to live forever and ever. The lights will go out and you never see it coming. Lights out, blam. You out, you die, and you never have to die. Some people say I've heard some of the people, I remember in the 7th grade, when I die, I want to die in my sleep. Because the reason you want to die in your sleep, because you never have to see it coming. You just die and you never know you died. That's what happens in the near-death experiences. That's what happens in the near-death experience. You die, you go out of existence without having to go out of existence. You die without having to die. You die and you never know you die.
Had I not gone beyond that experience, I wouldn't mind to. Would have minded to stay there forever and ever. I didn't even care to leave that spot. It was beautiful. But a white light pierced this blackness, because it was a black area that I was in. Black that you couldn't even see your hand if you had a hand that you could see, a physical hand. You couldn't see it in the dark. I used to be afraid of the dark. I was claustrophobia. I had claustrophobia, all of that. But in this space, I had none of it at all. There was just beauty and love. And this light came like a pinpoint of light at first, and then it just burst out, and it just covered me and drew me into it. And I went into this light, and it was bright, and it was brilliant.